Yes, sir. So,
Make the background. I send one image that poster. Make it background if possible.
yes, sir. I'll that as my background.
I shared one screen. Yes, please.
Should I start, sir?
Yeah, yeah.
So, greetings to one and all present here. Today, we have gathered here for a session on importance of internship for studying abroad. A lot of us are planning to go abroad, so this session is going to be very helpful for those who want to pursue their higher studies or do MS or MBA. So, our guest speaker for today is Mr. Shreyas Ramakrishnan from Jamboree. Mr. Ramakrishnan has done his MBA from Fisher College of Business, the Ohio State of University, as a fellowship student. He did his MSc from University of Bristol and his Bachelor's of Engineering from Anna University. On top of that, he has an extraordinary GMAT score of 740, that is 78 percentile. Coming towards his work experience, he is currently the regional head of West Zone of Jamboree Education Private Limited. Previously, he was a part of Six Sigma Green Belt, where he worked in ABB as chain analyst in process automation division, and he has over 14 years of experience in education industry and has trained over 5,500 students and assisted them with their applications for MS and MBA. We are really excited to hear from you, sir. So over to you.
So
Yes,
thank
share
you for
sir.
the kind words.
Yes, yes.
Yep, thank you so much for the kind words. So I think Banerjee sir can step in now. Banerjee sir, do you want to?
Yes, sir. I will begin with the session and to just introduce Jamboree to you a little bit. Already good introduction given by Priyanka. So basically, as you can see, we are into training for a study abroad, and we not only train for the standardized exams like GRE, GMAT, IELTS, TOEFL, but we also help you with your entire application process. That is right from your university shortlisting to your documentation to LORs to statement of purpose, essays, till up to visa counseling pre-departure. So in short, you can say that if you are actually looking to go abroad after your engineering for higher studies, any kind of master's, MBA, PhD, whatever you may be thinking of, and you choose to associate yourself with Jamboree, then you can be rest assured that we will be there with you right from the beginning till the end. It's like a one-stop solution. And in Pune, we are located in Shivaji Nagar. That would be the nearest from your campus off FC Road near Dhaneshwar Paduka Chowk. And we are open on all the 7 days, Monday to Sunday between 11 to 8. And we are spread across three-decade organization, as you can see. So let's dive into the presentation now. So we have actually divided it into two parts. I would be taking up the first half of the session, and our chief mentor and regional head Shreyas sir would be taking up the second half of the session. So as we begin, the very obvious question that would be coming to all of your minds is, why do students go abroad? After engineering, you do have some options. You can look at placements from your college. You can look at exams like CAT, GATE, government services, UPSC, FPSC. So options do exist for graduate engineers immediately after engineering. But still then, a lot of Indian students have been going abroad for a very long period of time, for close to a century or if not more. So now, while there are many reasons why students look to go abroad for their higher studies, what we have tried to do over here is we have tried to give you a snapshot of, or rather the uniqueness, I would say, in terms of if you would actually look to go abroad, vis-a-vis any of the other options if you were to choose, whether it is placements, studies in India, competitive exams, whatever. Now, if you look at the very first point and just think about it for a moment, Nobel Prize winners as your professors. How many of us have met Nobel laureates so far? Or even in the future, how many of us would be meeting Nobel Prize winners? Hardly any one of us. But if you actually go abroad and get yourself into a top 25 or a top 30 university, you will not only be meeting them, you will be having Nobel laureates coming down regularly for their subjects and taking your classes because they would be your professors and teachers. So you can very well understand the kind of knowledge sharing, the kind of inputs, the kind of experiential learning you will have from people who are Nobel laureates in their respective subjects. The next point, I don't need to elaborate too much. All of you are would-be engineers, so you know technologically where India stands vis-a-vis any of the developed nations, US, Canada, Europe, UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, etc. So getting to work on the latest state-of-the-art platforms, working on the latest technology is very much hands-on possible if you actually look to go abroad. And the research option, now this is something you can actually converse with your professors and understand more, especially the professors who are pursuing their PhD or who have already completed their PhD, that any field, whether it is engineering, mathematics, physics, psychology, history, geography, whichever particular subject you may be looking at, the research option, even in very, very premier institutes of India like IISCs, IITs, IIMs is extremely limited. You just need to compare the number of discoveries that happen in India and the number of discoveries and patents that happen in countries abroad or in the developed nations. And a lot of these discoveries are being made by Indians working abroad. So the irony is that talent-wise, we are at the best, we are at par with the best in the world. But our scope is very, very limited because we are still a developing nation. The third point, students, I would just want you all to make a mental note of it. We will get into it deeper as we go further into the presentation. Internship options are critical not only in terms of your curriculum completion, whether it is master's or MBA, whatever you may be pursuing, but they also act as a pointer in terms of determining how your placements are going to happen after you have completed your master's. And finally, the last point, quite obvious, this is something, job opportunities, what probably most of us, if not all of us, are looking at, whether it is straight away after engineering, after higher studies abroad, higher studies in India, whatever. Now again, here if I were to ask you a question, what kind of companies would you like to work with? Something like a Tata Motors, APIT Cummins, ASB Pumps, Infosys, or would you like to work with companies like Amazon, Google, Caterpillar, Shell, General Electric, Philips? Yes, the second grade of companies which I am talking about are your Fortune 500 organizations. Given a choice between a Fortune 500 organization and an Indian organization, I think the choice is very, very clear. Let me add that I am not demeaning any of the Indian organizations. The Indian organizations also do a very good job. But when it comes to Fortune 500 organizations, the kind of learning, the kind of peer group, and the kind of knowledge that would be passed across is simply beyond comparison to what would be happening in any other organization. How do I get myself into a Fortune 500 organization? The route is to go abroad and get myself into a good university over there. and I have a very high probability of getting placed in a Fortune 500 organization. Now, if I am looking to go abroad, what is the competition that I am going to tackle? Vis-a-vis, if I am looking for higher studies in India, what is the competition that I am going to face? Now, as you can see from this, we have only taken management education. Some of you would have heard about the CAT exam, the most popular exam for the 20 IIMs. As you can see, 4,200 seats total and 2,29,000 plus candidates, nearly 2,32.3 lakh candidates. And if you are having a little bit knowledge about the IIMs or CAT, you would agree with me that all the 20 IIMs are not equally as good. The ones who are wanting to get into the IIMs would want to get into the top 6 or the top 7 IIMs. Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Indore, Kozhikode, Calcutta, Shillong, etc. Lucknow. Now, if you add the total number of seats in the right-hand column, where we have taken only 3 Ivy League schools in US, the total number of seats add up to more than 2,500 plus. And that is more than the total number of seats offered by the top 7 IIMs. US itself has 8 Ivy League colleges, 15 to 16 similar grade of universities. You add the universities of Canada, UK, Germany, France, Spain, Switzerland, Singapore, Hong Kong. So you can understand that yes, there is going to be competition if you want to get into a really top university abroad. But the competition is much more balanced as compared to that in India. And in India, it's very obvious, no prizes for guessing why it is such a cutthroat competition. Too many people, too few seats. Second most populous country in the world. So automatically, for everything, there is a cutoff. As long as you don't clear that magical cutoff, you cannot be actual, you don't see yourself in that particular institute. So if I were to actually look abroad, what are my options? Where all possibly could I be going? US continues to hold the pole position for the very simple reason that it is the only superpower now in the world, economic or otherwise. The size of the US economy is $25.8 trillion. Just to give a comparison, the size of the Indian economy is about $3.1 to $3.2 trillion. And that places us in the fourth position, fourth or the fifth position. So US economy is almost 8 to 9 times the size of the Indian economy. But along with US, nations like Canada, UK, Germany, France, Spain, Switzerland, Denmark, Norway have also shaped up to be very attractive destinations as far as Indian students are concerned. Australia and New Zealand, they continue to hold their place. And in Asia, we look at Singapore and Hong Kong, the two technologically advanced nations, which has been attracting Indian talent for the last 15 to 20 years. So if I were to choose any one of these countries as my study abroad destination, what are the USPs that I can actually look forward to and what I need to be watchful about? Now, starting with Canada, Canadian universities have mirrored their curriculum exactly on the same lines as that of the US universities. So there is a lot of flexibility in their curriculum in terms of choosing of subjects, in terms of duration, evaluation, transfer, etc. In fact, we will be getting into the US system of education a little more in detail from the very next slide itself. But before I go on to the next 2 points about Canada, I would just want to jog your memory a little bit. All of you would have studied a subject geography till your 10th standard. And if you remember a little bit of your geography, it used to have atlases, reference to atlases, pointers to, or rather I would say map pointing and stuff. Now, Canada, if you remember, is a huge country area-wise, located in North America. But population-wise, it's a very small country. Why I said it is a small country? Because the population of Canada is only 4 crores. Again, to give a comparison, the population of Maharashtra is 12.2 crores. So what one country has, one Indian state has more than 3 times that population. So the next 2 points become very obvious. Canada wants students and professionals to come and work, to come and stay, study over there. So it is comparatively much less competitive. Job opportunities are plenty. And in the long term, if you're actually looking to take up Canadian citizenship, they have friendly permanent residency or PR policies. What you need to be watchful about is there are about 8 to 10 top universities in Canada, like the University of Toronto, British Columbia, Rotman, McGill, McMaster. And the admissions criteria has an extra amount of focus on your academics. By academics, I mean your undergraduate performance. 10th and 12th isn't that important, but what you do in 4 years of engineering or 8 semesters of engineering does carry a very important bearing in Canada and Germany both. In fact, it is important for all countries, but extra important for Canada and Germany. Coming to UK, again, I don't think any introductions are needed. We have been a British colony for close to 2 centuries. So we have had students, professionals, and a lot of people going across to prestigious colleges like Oxford, London Business School, London School of Economics, Cambridge for more than a century. But along with UK, nations like Germany, France, Switzerland, Denmark, Spain, they have also shaped up to be very attractive destinations over the last 15 to 20 years for the Indian students. Now, if you're planning to go to UK or say any of these Scandinavian countries like Norway, Sweden, or a Denmark, English language knowledge is sufficient. You don't need to learn any other language. But any other country in Europe, local language will come very handy. The reason is not because the medium of instructions will change. Medium of instruction in the universities remains English practically in all the countries, except very few universities in Germany. But 2 years, 24/7, you cannot be inside the campus. You need to move out. And more importantly, if you know the local language, when you are competing for placements, you will be competing at par with a native of that particular country by knowing the local language. Singapore and Hong Kong, big advantage, close to India. From any part of India, it's like a 4 to 6 hours flight. And similar to Canada, they also have friendly permanent residency policies. So they want students and professionals to come and stay and work over there. Singapore, Hong Kong, both look at a limited number of top universities. We have the Singapore Management University, the Nanyang Technical, the National University. And Hong Kong, we have the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. So quite obvious that there is a lot of competition to get into these top 4 or 5 universities, because not only Indian students, but from students across the globe would want to see themselves in these top 4 or 5 universities. Australia, practically identical to Canada, big country, small population. New Zealand, a smaller country, but with an even smaller population. Population of New Zealand is barely 5 million. That's like half a crore. So both countries have friendly residency policies. They want professionals and students to come and study and work over there. But when you're choosing either of these countries, or I would say any one of the countries abroad, you need to be careful about the university that you are choosing to get into. Please understand that just because these countries are developed nations or they are technologically more advanced as compared to India, does not necessarily mean that each and every university is a good university. Whether it is US, Canada, Australia, UK, wherever. So it is really important you may choose that the choice of your university has to be a good university, if not a top university. So Australia and New Zealand have a very, very few limited number of good colleges. So that is something you would need to keep in mind if you were to choose either of these countries as your study abroad destination. Now let's get a little more deeper into the US education system as to why US is such an attractive destination. Now the examples itself, if you look at it carefully, will make you understand why it is such an attractive destination. We had students like Ankit and Rashmi who did their engineering in electronics and communication and in civil, and then went on to do their masters in biomed and financial engineering. So as you can see,
sir, Banerjee sir,
yes,
sorry for the disturbance. You are sharing any PPT, sir?
Yes, sir.
But unable to see your PPT right now.
Just a moment, sir.
I will stop my sharing. But check it. Unable to see your PPT. Only I hear your name here only. Please share the PPT once again.
Yes, sir. I will reshare it. Sir, is the PPT visible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible right now. It is visible. Till now, it is not
Okay.
visible. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Please continue. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. So coming to the next point, basically in terms of, as I was saying, that you can also take up a variety of combination of subjects. Now, as you can see, Shrikant and Dipesh both did their masters in, one did it in mechanical, one did it in software. But they took up a combination. One studied a marketing management subject like marketing, whereas another student, Dipesh, studied photography. So if you are a student who's having two very different kind of tastes, you actually can be having a different combination of subjects. You can mix and match your majors. And this is not the only part of it. There is a good amount of duration flexibility as well, which you can get. In India, we all know that a 2 years course, a 3 years course, or a 4 years course can be done only in a stipulated time. You cannot do it faster. You cannot do it later. Now, in US, a 2 years masters can be completed in anything between 1.5 years to 3.5 to 4 years by choice, not by default. In India, of course, course can be extended, but that is by default. That is if you don't clear your papers. Now, here we had Gautam, again one of our students who completed his masters in computer science in 1.5 years and started working with Adobe. Now, when you're completing a 2 years masters in 1.5 years, you are not only saving on 6 months or 1 semester tuition fees, but you are starting to earn 6 months before you are planning to earn. So the investment that you would have made in terms of your abroad study, you have started recovering that investment well in advance. If you are a hardworking, talented student, you can finish a course faster by taking up the required number of subjects and credits. Similarly, you can extend your course. How do I extend my course? Now, this is where students, internships will come in. In fact, Shreyas sir would be elaborating on this a bit more. But how are internships so important? Internships are almost an essential part of your curriculum, be it in masters, be it in management studies. In fact, internships can be paid, unpaid, whatever. But unless you complete an internship, you will not be allowed to complete the degree. And most of the courses have almost a compulsory internship that you need to be doing. So more than, and in fact, you can keep extending your internships and take up new internships. If you feel that the outside jobs that are being offered at this point in time are not to your liking, you take up another internship. And in the internship, if you are, you showcase your skills to the organization. So any particular internship you end up performing well, you can actually get a PPO or a pre-placement offer. That is something that will take care of your biggest headache or your main pressure point, that is of taking up a job. So that will be done and dusted before you have completed your masters. You can take the summer semester off, you can do your internships in India. Internships not compulsorily need to be done in that particular country. Internships done in your home country also count. Evaluation system is also something that is quite interesting. Now in India, since our school days, we know that we have whatever our half yearly and annual exams and probably the unit tests would reflect. That is how what our report cards would look like. And after college, it would be your semester end exams. So if 3 hours paper doesn't go well, then the report card or the mark sheet is not going to be to the liking which I would preferably want it to. But in US, semester and exams are not the only evaluating factor. As you can see, there is a throughout the year performance that gets evaluated, right from your class participation, assignments, quizzes, class tests, attendance. Everything carries a certain percentage of marks. So you're in a particular subject, even if you were to not do as well as you would have liked in those 3 hours, but in the remaining part of the semester you have performed well, then your grades are not going to get pulled down by that much, because they are going to be an average of your semester end exams and your throughout the year or throughout the semester performance in that particular subject. You have the option of practical learning. Again, you gain credits through internship, which I was just talking about. You can extend your internship, as I said. Extended internships are nothing but co-ops. And in these, you are actually allowed to work on campus as well, up to 20 hours per week. So if you can manage living expenses almost entirely. There is also an option for a direct PhD admission. So if you're clear in your mind that you want to go into research or a scientific career, you can apply for an integrated master's plus PhD admission. So you need not apply twice, once for master's and again for PhD. Coincidentally, again, one of our computer engineers, Isha, got into her PhD program with 100% scholarship. That means at zero tuition fees, and she was also earning a stipend. So her living expenses was also being taken care of. Now, another interesting part is the transfer to a better university or a transfer to a cheaper university. While going from India, even if you're not getting into something really top, you actually should not lose heart. You perform well in the first semester over there, you have a good probability of moving to a better ranked university. Like we had Srijit moving from Northbridge to a top 5 university in the world, UCLA, University of California. Prasad moved from Stony Brooks to Virginia Tech for his master's in mechanical, a cheaper university. Similarly, if you move from, say, a private university to a state-sponsored university, you are saving at least $4,000 to $5,000 per semester in terms of your tuition fees. Multiply that by 3, multiply that by the total number of, by the exchange ratio between dollars and rupees. And you can understand for yourself how much money you would have saved for yourself or your parents. Now, if I were to look to go abroad, what are my options? What courses probably I can pursue? And how do I get into it? Now, the option, it is quite obvious. Masters in your current field, you need not actually go abroad for this. This is available in India also. But as you can see, there are a lot many other options, right from business analytics, data sciences, biomed, operations research, financial engineering, masters in management, engineering management. I mean, there are many more options. We have not been able to include all of them because of absence of space. And here I would like to actually dispel a common myth, which again some of you may be having, that unless I have WorkX, I can't go abroad. Please understand that except for the second last option, that is the MBA, all the other options, right from your general masters right up to MIM, all of them have pressures.
Energy, sir, please go
Yes,
to the
sir.
next slide, sir. Unable, that's one slide is still I am unable to see. Another slide not. Please move to the next slide, sir. I'm seeing only US education system slide right now.
Sir, is this slide visible?
Only
Admission
one.
slide.
No, sir, no. Go to the next slide, sir. Yes.
Sir, I have
Make it.
moved to the next slide now. Should I reshare the PPT once again, sir?
Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah, I'll just reshare it, sir.
Yes, sir. I am able to see the slide, sir, right now.
Able to see? Yeah. So as I was saying that all these degrees welcome freshers. So if you're clear in your mind that you want to complete all your studies first and then start with your corporate life, you can apply for any of the masters, a masters in management or engineering management, whatever, except for MBA, that is your conventional business administration program. All other degrees take in freshers. It's only in case of MBA that good universities would want students with 2 to 3 years of post graduation work experience. Now, how do I actually get into these universities or colleges? GRE required for masters and PhD, that is the standard exam, and GMAT you will require to write if you're applying for any of management studies, whether it is an MIM, MBA, MEM, whatever. TOEFL and IELTS, all of us would be required to write because we all come from a country where English is not our mother tongue. If we were educated in Australia or Ireland, we would not require to write TOEFL IELTS. Academic record, I am not repeating once again. I have already elaborated. It is important for all countries, extra important for Canada and Germany. An academic record means undergraduate performance in your 4 years of engineering. Now in India, as I was saying, because of the system of cutoffs, we get habituated to focusing only on marks. Abroad, marks is one part of your selection criteria. Universities would also want to understand what else you bring onto the table other than your academics and marks. So your extracurricular activities, particularly if you're applying for any kind of management education, you play a sport, you organize activities in colleges, you participate in activities, you show your team building skills, you play an instrument, all of them are plus points as extracurricular activities on your CV. Similarly, for masters or for PhD, that is for the technical courses, research work, participation in symposiums, assisting the professor in his or her research work, paper publications, patents, all of them count as important co-curricular activities. LORs, essays and SOPs. Sir, has the slide stopped again? Is the slide visible?
I'm able to see only admission criteria slide, sir.
Yes, sir. I am on that slide only. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
because there was some interruption at my end. So
Yes, sir. Please
so LORs, essays, all of you would be requiring to write this when you fill up the application forms. Interviews primarily required for your management education. For masters or PhD, it's a direct admission process, and usually there are no interviews. With this, I would like to invite Shreyas sir to please take over from me for the second half of the presentation. Over to you, Shreyas sir.
Thank you, Banerjee sir. Because I don't have access to the PPTs, so can you just move to the next slide?
Yes, sir. So can you see this slide, internships and types?
No. Okay. So let me help you. So can you...
Or should we go to the GMAT theory and then come back to this?
No. Okay, just give me 1 second because we have to do, because there seems to be some issue in sharing this PPT because we have to use the toggle view. 1 second.
Right, sir.
Just give me 1 second. Now I'll try to upload it from my side and let's check whether that works.
Sir, I'll stop the sharing then because otherwise you will not be able to upload it. I'll stop my sharing.
Yeah.
सर आप शेयर कर लो ना सर, Banerjee sir, please start it.
Yes. 1 second, sir. Yeah, I'm sharing. Just give me 1 minute, sir. I'm sharing the PPT. I think in the setting, I think we need to quickly change something. 1 second.
Yes sir, it is visible right now. Yes sir. Please make it
So you
F5.
see the slides move, sir.
No, slide moving is not unable to see. Yes sir.
Yes,
Yes.
now
Okay.
it is
Yes.
moving. Yes,
It's moving, right? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
yes.
Just give me 1 second. Yeah.
Yes sir. Okay sir. Okay. Yes, please start.
So it's visible, right? Yeah. I just downloaded it and made a change, to the setting. So now I think it should be visible. So if you see here, there are different types of internships. So one is called CPT, Curricular Practical Training, which is what you do during your masters. So either along with your studies or during the summer break. Now, OPT is called optional practical training, which is done after the course. Right. Now, during CPT, you can work for, see, generally speaking, part time is considered 20 hours, full time is considered 40 hours. So, because you go to whichever country as a student, you are on a student visa. So, you cannot work 40 hours, you can work a maximum of 20 hours per week. Because then once you graduate, get a job, and then you actually start working, then you will need to work a minimum of 40 hours a week to be considered full-time employed. Right now, in addition to this, there are STEM programs. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. So this is in the US, where along with your 12 month of OPT that you get after completing your course, you also get a 24-month OPT extension. So it's called a OPT STEM extension. So you can work in the US for 36 months, even if you do not get picked in the lottery system. And as Banerjee sir said, let's say you're about to graduate and things are not looking good, economy is bad, then you can extend your course by doing 2 or 3 more internships, getting 2 or 3 more CPTs, curricular practical training, so that that will give you some payment, that will enhance your CV. It gives you an opportunity to network with people, and finally that can really help you convert into a full-time job, and you can graduate obviously when the economic situation is slightly better. Now, so I'm sure most of you would have heard of GRE and GMAT. So GRE is traditionally for masters in technical areas, whereas GMAT is for management related programs. Now both are American standardized tests. Preparation for these exams take only 3 to 4 months compared to your CAT or a GATE or a NEET or an IIT JEE, where it takes a lot of time. Now these take only 3 to 4 months, and the big advantage is these exams are conducted throughout the year. So whenever you are ready, you can take the exam, and the scores are valid for 5 years. So you don't have to take it every year. The scores are valid for 5 years. That's a big advantage. So you can take the exam, go immediately. You can take the exam, work for 2 3 years, and then go, no problem, because the scores are valid for 5 years. Now, there is no cutoff per se, because in India we have a cutoff based system. So here there is no cutoff. Out of GREs out of 340, so 320 plus is considered a good score. GMAT is out of 800, so 700 is considered a good score. Now, very important to note is you compete in your own country pool. So, Americans compete with Americans, Canadians compete with Canadians, Chinese compete with Chinese, etc. And all of the level of competition we have among Indian students. It's quite a bit, right? Now, if you're looking for management related programs or technical programs, some of you might have a not so good of a GPA, let's say 1 or 2 backlogs, my GPA is low, or I don't have any backlogs, but still my GPA is not that great. What can I do? So one way to compensate for your slightly mediocre academic grades is by getting a higher GMAT GRE score. Right. Now, if you're looking for management related programs, they use extra, you need to work on your extracurricular activities, which is, music, dance, drama, sports, arts, leadership roles, whole bunch of other things, community impact, volunteering, all these things they look into. But if you're looking at a technical program, then they definitely look into your research work, your paper presentations, symposiums, conferences, journals, patents, hackathons, technical courses, technical internships, whatever you've done on Coursera, Udemy, edX. They look at all these things. And as Banerjee sir said, every university has a separate application, so you need to submit separate essays, or sometimes it's also called SOP, statement of purpose, and also LORs, letters of recommendation, which you need to get from your college faculty members. This is a very important question because most Indian students want scholarships. So there are tons of scholarships available, 50%, 75%, even 100% scholarship. You also get fellowships. So there are tons of scholarship opportunities. Now, in addition to this, as I already told you, you can work up to 20 hours per hour on campus and sometimes even outside of campus. Right now, there are opportunities, job opportunities within the university. So, for example, you can help your professor in teaching responsibilities. That's called a TEA or a teaching assistantship. You help your professor in research work. That's called an RA, research assistantship. Right. And so, for doing this work, you get a reduction in the tuition fee and you also get a monthly stipend. So, that takes care of your living expenses. Now, these are the university scholarships, but there are, in addition to this, there are a lot of outside scholarships also. So, for example, there is Setna scholarship, Lady Meherbai scholarship, Tata scholarship, Vishwa Kunkini scholarship. If you're applying to the US, there is Fulbright scholarship. If you're applying to UK, there is Chevening scholarship, Commonwealth scholarship. If you're applying to, let's say, Germany, there is Max Muller scholarship. If you're applying to France, there is Eiffel scholarship, Alliance Francaise scholarship. So there are also tons of scholarships given by third parties, but they have their own requirements, deadlines, application process, etc. So it's very important for you to start the process early. Now, in terms of how we help you, now obviously we help you, for both GMAT and GRE preparation, both classroom as well as live classes that happen on the Zoom platform. Okay. In addition to this, now again, depending on whether you're going for a technical program or management program, we help you build your profile, be it extracurricular activities or co-curricular activities. We help you shortlist the schools depending on your budget, location, etc. We help you with CV, SOP, LOR, entire application, financial documentation, interview, visa. So we help you all the way till pre-departure. So we help you end to end. Now, here are some of our students who have gotten into some of the best universities in the world. 100% scholarship from Bocconi University. I'm sure you guys have heard of Carnegie Mellon, which is the top, one of the topmost schools, in the US. And Tanvi got into LSE, which is London School of Economics. Again, one of the finest schools. Similarly, some very good scores. Priyanka got into, Ivy League school, Columbia, and Swaraj got into UC Berkeley, which is like a really top school. Again, here are some of the students who are from the campus, who have gone from different departments, who have gone for different courses to different countries, different universities. Now we have very similar, scores for GMAT also, which is predominantly for MIM, MBA, those kind of scores. So very important. You need to decide which way you want to build your career, whether you want to go the GMAT route or the GRE route. Sit and study really hard for 3 to 4 months, build a good profile, take proper help, and obviously do internships during your study. Because why are we doing all of this? Because at the end of the day, you need to get a good job, right? So do all the things, be active on LinkedIn, right? Update, even every small detail has to be updated on your LinkedIn profile, because recruiters first check out your LinkedIn profile. So for social connect, we have Facebook. Similarly, for professional connect, we have LinkedIn. So you need to, and that is something you can start even today. Please make sure you have a good profile picture and you start updating all the activities you do on the on your LinkedIn page, right? So we're just leaving. These are some of the top scores, uh, of GMAT from the Pune FC Center, right? So these are our contacts, my email ID, Banerjee sir's email ID, and also our mobile number. So my request is, please think about it, because at least you should consider this option, because as Banerjee sir said, there are tons of good options in India also. But in addition to this, there are tons of very good options outside. So you need to make an important decision. This is very crucial because it pertains to your career. So please feel free to visit with your friends or your parents. We are very happy to assist you. Over to you, Banerjee, sir.
Thank you, sir. So basically, the idea of this session was not exactly to motivate all of you to go abroad. See, that is an option that every individual decides on his or her own decisions. The idea of this session was to basically get you to start the thinking process of how to plan your careers. Whatever option you want to choose, whether it is after engineering, taking up placements, going abroad, going for higher studies in India, you need to have a plan in place. You cannot be just graduating and then start thinking about how to go about things. Please understand what you do at the age of 21 to 26, 27 will have a very important bearing of how successful you will be when you are in your mid 30s or early 40s. Success will not come magically to anybody. All the people who are successful today is because they have worked really hard, they have planned their careers well when they were in their graduation or their pre-final year of graduation till the first couple of years of their careers. And of course, they continued working hard later as well. So if any of you feel motivated enough that yes, a broad option can be a possible choice for me, or I want to understand whether I want to go or not, that is secondary. But I want to understand if I were to choose for a master's or for an MBA, where do I stand? What are my chances? What do I need to do? When are the applications? How do I prepare? Please feel free to contact us. Thank you once again for taking out your time and being a part of this session. We hope
Wait, sir.
we have
Yes.
been able to add some value to your time. Thank you. But
Yes, sir.
that would
Wait,
be
sir.
all from our side, sir.
Yes. Students have any questions? Yes. I request all to switch on their camera. Banerjee sir, Shreyas sir. I request all to switch on your camera. Animesh, Abhishek. Switch on your camera, please. Sir, please remove your share PPT so that I will make it.
Sir, I've removed it, sir.
Yeah. Good. I request all to switch on your camera, please. Together mode. I request all to switch on your camera. Unable to see all faces. सर्वांनी कॅमेरा चालू करा प्लीज. कुठेही असेल तर काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही, पण कॅमेरा चालू पाहिजे. आशिष, हर्षद. ओके. लगानिया प्लीज.
Yes. So, hello, everyone. I would like to extend a vote of thanks to Mr. Banerjee and Mr. Ramakrishnan for sharing all the benefits and opportunities that Jamboree has to offer to all of us who are planning for their higher studies and how important it is to build a profile beforehand. It was a really insightful session and has surely helped us gain some more knowledge about the same fact. And I would like to thank the faculty of MESCO as well for providing this opportunity of interacting with you all. And last but not least, I would like to thank all the attending attendees being for being present here. So with this, we may move ahead to close the meeting.
Yes.